So we got the John Deere running, finally. In the last video, titled Carburetor Troubleshooting, you'll see that I was doing everything I could possibly think of to get this carburetor running. I had even drilled out the cap over the idle jet circuit and cleaned it out with wire, and I had taken the main jet out and cleaned it to where it looked basically perfect, and I kept the idle circuit back off, and I had tuned the air fuel screw. Nothing was working, and I even checked the flywheel, pulled the top off of the flywheel and made sure that the engine was still in time, made sure that the flywheel key wasn't broken, and everything was good. Of course I was still getting spark, no problems there. So I even checked my air gap again. Everything was good with that as well. So finally I gave up and decided to pull the carb back off completely, take it back down to bare bones, strip everything off of it, and put it in some Berryman Chem Dip carburetor cleaner to let it soak for a few hours yesterday. Shout out to Berryman Chem Dip because that shit worked. So I've used this a lot for carburetors in the past, but this being the second carburetor, when I got it in the mail, I just sprayed it out with aerosol carburetor cleaner and, you know, cleaned that main jet, slapped it back together, thought it was good to go. I also sprayed it out with compressed air as well, but apparently I missed something somewhere in there. There was something still lodged in a jet or a passage, because I got it back together after a very thorough cleaning, once again, even after soaking it, and I think I soaked it for about 2 or 3 hours total. And anyway, I fired it up and she runs. I did have to fiddle with the air fuel a little bit to get it right and you know, get it idling, and I had to turn the idle down some because I'd turned it up too far, but now it idles without surging, and it still tries to surge a little bit if the engine's cold, but if you choke it on startup and then let it warm up real good, it seems to pull the hill in my driveway just fine. I did have a problem with some of the safety switches. When I would try to put it in gear and let out of the clutch, the engine would die. So I took the plug, you can see plugs up right in there. Not sure if you can see it, but anyway, I had to jump this one side just so that I could release the brake pedal without it dying, so that I could actually drive it. But I don't know what's going on with the switches here, because originally previous owner had modified the seat sensor here so that, you know, it wouldn't die if you got up off of the mower, which is fine with me. I have no problem with that, so I just left it alone. And I don't know if that has something to do with the brake and clutch lever not working right as well, but I got that jumpered, and you know, I can drive it just fine. But when I do engage the PTO, it also tries to kill the engine, so you know, I'll probably defeat that safety switch as well. You know, I don't really care about those because I'm careful operating the mower, and I don't really need them. You know, I mean, I know they're put on there for safety reasons, you know, keep people from getting hurt, but as long as you're careful, pay attention, you do okay without them. So I sharpen the blades and work on the brakes as well, because these brakes are either on or off. There's nothing in between. It's just skid marks or moving, you know what I mean? So anyway, gonna work on those and probably change the oil in the hydrostatic transaxle, but I'll do those two things in another video in a few days probably. Not gonna get into that today, but anyway, I'll start this thing up, let you guys see how it runs. Let's go ahead and choke it. see it still surges a little bit while it's still cold, so the air fuel mixture is probably not perfect, but I was able to drive it yesterday once the engine was warmed up. I drove it up and down the driveway and around the yard just fine with no problems in that area, so probably just need to tweak it and get it a little bit more fine-tuned and should be okay. But I'll go ahead and take you guys for a ride, show you how she runs. Okay, I've let her warm up a little bit off camera so that it should run a little bit better for you guys. I'll tweak the air fuel mixture and the idle some more off camera because that's some pretty boring stuff, so I'll have to do some plug chops, make sure it's running okay to do that correctly, and that'll take a long time, so let's go for a quick drive. As you can see, she still bogs a little bit and hunts for a good idle from time to time once you get a load on it, but all in all, I think it's running pretty good for as much heartache as I've been through. So until next time.